Finished cleaning the basement yet.
Oh, geez, well, you're not going to be down there much. I mean,
I know.
I would worry about that.
Okay. This is a presentation about being a woman in the Alpine. How I want to do this is if you guys have questions as I go through, just ask me questions. I would rather have this more be like a conversational presentation rather than me just talk at you guys. All right, my name is Paige Parrish. I am 25 years old. I'm originally from Allen, Texas, which is like a suburb north of Dallas. I went to University of Wyoming, which is how I ended up out in this lovely state. And my strengths, mountaineering, I would say, are my mental fortitude and my occasional coordination. And my challenges, I have scoliosis and nerve damage, which makes it really hard to carry a lot of weight as well as like fit a pack to my body. So those are just some additional challenges that I've like personally faced. All right, here's a few of my notable climbs, just so you guys don't think I'm, here faking you out. I've climbed Kilimanjaro, which is in Africa, Bonete, which is in South America, right next to Aconcagua. So I did both of those on the same trip. And then I've also climbed Denali, which is in Alaska. I've climbed San Francisco and Pisis, which is in Argentina. I've done the Grand Teton, which is more like technical climbing. And I climbed Gannett here in Wyoming. And I've climbed a mountain called Cordodita and Beltran, which is also in Chile. I do a lot of mountaineering down there because there's a lot of really good peaks, and it's just a great, beautiful place to go. So yeah, and then I've done a lot of other peaks as well in Colorado, 14ers, that kind of stuff. I've done some winter ascents of stuff as well. This is just kind of like a bullet point overview of different issues that women face, and kind of we're gonna go through how to overcome them, or just like things that women have to deal with that are a little bit different that men might not necessarily have to deal with and think about, like acquiring gear, representation, the male ego, privacy, peeing, which is always a fun one, carrying capacity, like extra equipment, and then sanitation. The gear struggle. Gear options, way more limited for women than men. You have to do a lot of searching around. You have way less options as well. It might come in one color. You're kind of limited to whatever color they have. And it requires a lot of special ordering or traveling to special stores and trying to figure out who has stuff in what size, especially boots. I don't know why. If you have a normal sized woman foot, finding boots is like really difficult. So that sleeping bag and the mat up in the upper left-hand corner, we had to like special order those because we wanted them super lightweight and super warm. And then the boots that I'm wearing in this bottom picture, yeah, those boots were really hard to find. Had to special order those. Yeah, I did. I have my base camp buff that I'm rocking.
Make sure to get that picture.
Yeah, I have actually a lot. I wear my base camp buff on a lot of expeditions. It's super comfy. Yeah. So that bottom one is from Pisis. The one of me in the sleeping bag is from Denali, and then the one on the right is from me at Aconcagua. The female representation on the mountain, as far as mountaineering and ice, 39% of participants are women. Outdoor climbing is about 33%. Indoor climbing is about 42%. High altitudes 15 to 20, and professional guiding is 8 to 10%. So not a large female representation. Would love to see those numbers climb. And sometimes you can feel kind of alone being the only woman in a group, not having a lot of other women to talk to. And then you have like moments where you're like, I am a badass. I am here amongst the men doing this super cool stuff. It's awesome. And that picture is all of us having a snack after summiting Denali, hanging out on the snow. We're eating a fistful of bacon that was pre-cooked and drinking beer we'd buried in the snow. So really like a bro moment there.
How many are there of you guys in a group typically?
There was 3 of us on a rope team, and there was like 6 of us total, so we had 2 rope teams of 3.
Okay.
Yep.
Another question.
Yeah.
on this side. How do you like find other women partners to do these things with? Because that's something I've struggled with.
You meet them on like Expedition or at events like this.
Yeah.
Call me. Yeah, just like meeting people at different events and meeting people through other guys and meeting people on climbs. Like the women that you do run into are super awesome, and you usually like be friends with them after because you guys bond. Got that bonding experience of struggling. But yeah, it's definitely really challenging, and most of the people I do mountaineer with are men. The occasional male ego. Some men, super awesome, super great. Other men do not want you there just because you're a woman. That is definitely an issue I've had. And your tent mate is likely a man, and a lot of times no one will share a tent with you because you're a woman, so you have to carry your own tent and sleep in your own tent, which kind of sucks. It's like getting picked last for the kickball team. Really unfortunate. But you run into super cool women, like I said. You just end up meeting some awesome ladies there, and some of the guys do really want to share a tent with you. So that's also the occasional situation you run into as well. But yeah, this one's definitely a difficult one to navigate because this isn't like a super common thing, and like we were discussing before the presentation, way more common on like highly commercialized mountains. You get guys that are way more egotistical because they just think they're real cool people. And they'll put you down, but don't take shit from them because you're really cool for being there, and some guys will really hype you up. And it's also really cool to watch like grown men have a full mental breakdown because it's cold and you're just sitting there like chilling, eating your snack. It's a like really empowering feeling, so there's that. Boys Club. A lot of the leisure activities that you do are gonna be like organized by the boys, which is honestly really fun, super good time. And if you wanna participate in group activities, it's gonna turn into Boys Club. So in the corner, we were having an ice axe throwing contest, basically like frisbee golf with our ice axes. I got 3rd. And then we were in like a dome rave. There was actually another woman there. She was super cool. We had like a big dome party after our summit. And then we were playing BS, our card games. You usually do stuff in your off time or like your bad weather days. You sit around and like play games and stuff. And food is picked by the boys. So mentally prepare for lots of meat and protein bars. It's like super bro food. So if you want anything that's like not male picked food or like want to know what they're preparing ahead of time, definitely a good question to ask. Privacy or lack thereof. All community living spaces. There's nothing to hide behind when you're using the bathroom, or you're just too lazy to walk too far to not pee in front of everybody. Everyone's gonna use the bathroom, change, and bathe with wet wipes. There's no showers in the same like not so private space. So these are all from Aconcagua, just because that's the mountain I took most like pictures of large dome tents on. As you can see, a lot of people sleeping in the one tent, especially lower on the mountain. Way more people sleep in there. So you just have to get comfortable like in a community sleeping environment, community changing environment. Everyone dries their clothes and kind of smells like a locker room. But this is a really good way to get to know your fellow climbers and kind of meet people and hang out and find people to play games with and get some really good like insight on the conditions on the mountain and that kind of stuff. This is like a great place to socialize with people. We're gonna get real personal. How to pee. A lot of women like ask me this question. This is a very common question I get asked, so I figured I'd go over it. I don't recommend using a pee funnel. A lot of women use them. I don't like them. It's another thing to carry. When you're on the mountain for a month, it gets dirty. You have nowhere to clean it. It can cause infection because you're not cleaning it. It's just not a great experience. You do have to remove your pants every time. Men do not. And like when I pee with a harness on, I just kind of like shimmy it down and leave it on my knees in case I fall in a crevasse. My harness will still get hooked on my boots, might be hanging from my feet, really uncomfortable, but at least I'll live. And you gotta like just learn how to effectively pee on the ground without peeing on yourself, because that's like a big one, especially with the wind. Like you don't understand how windy it is up there. You do not want to pee on the only pair of pants you brought. And remove them as little as possible, simply because your butt gets really cold and you lose a lot of heat when you're peeing. And people will watch you. Like, especially on Denali, when you're like leashed to somebody on the glacier and you can't leave your rope team, there is somebody like right there, and they're sitting there eating their snack, and you're kind of just peeing, like looking at them, and it's super community environment. This is from Denali. We dug a like bathroom, little snow pit. As you can see, there's nothing to hide behind on the rest of the glacier. This is the toilet. It's a pail. If you pee in that, men will yell at you. You cannot pee in this. So you have to like do this like hovering, switching situation, which is like kind of not ideal. That is for number 2 only. And also people will walk by and like look down into the pit while you're peeing, and it's really uncomfortable, but you just kind of like throw them a nice wave.
You gotta make the eye contact.
Yeah, directly. Weight, you have to carry the same amount of like gear as men, and also there's extra equipment you're gonna need to bring as a woman, like just things you're gonna need.
See that,
No.
I don't know how you do it because you're so small.
Mhm.
I mean, I tried to lift that one backpack that you brought the last time with your dad. I don't know how you do it.
It's a lot of training. A lot of training before you go.
Jeez.
And in your gear preparation, you're gonna wanna purchase the super large pack, probably the largest pack they make for women. I believe this red backpack is the largest one they sell retail for women, and I think it's an 85-liter Osprey bag.
Wow.
I like it because it's really adjustable to my scoliosis, which is like awesome.
Yeah.
And I love that it's like it's a super comfy pack, not the lightest pack on the market for sure, but a really good pack, and that's just something you have to think about in your preparation. And another thing about like acquiring gear and shipping time and all that is like how long it's going to take for your pack to get there. Actually, the Osprey rep asked me why I was getting such a large bag and flew down with the backpack to meet me, because he wanted to know why I was getting such a big bag, which was really interesting. So I had to like custom fit and got to have a whole conversation with him. And you're going to carry more weight based on your body weight percentage than men. So like a 45-pound pack I weigh 120 pounds. That's like 37.5% of my body weight. And a 50-pound pack on a 180-pound man is 27%, almost 28% of their body weight. So body weight percentile-wise, you're gonna carry more weight, but they will give you crap because you're carrying 5 pounds less than them. So it's always just like a polite reminder that like actually you're killing it. You're doing a wonderful job carrying that much weight. And a lot of times you won't even fit it all in your pack. Like that's me carrying my sled down because I got tired of it beating into my shins on Denali. So that's my sled. On the upper right, that's my sled and like pack rigging system, because I couldn't fit everything in my pack. You have to haul sleds. The bottom right one is also me on Denali. That was me climbing the head wall. I had to clip a bunch of stuff to me. That pack was the heaviest pack I think I've ever carried. It was ridiculously big. Like it was insane. It was bigger than me. And the bottom left, that was a pack I took up the Grand. And you wouldn't, if you don't like carry ropes a lot, ropes are really heavy and placement of them is really important. Yes, we really did carry all this up the mountain. This is all the gear that we've taken on various trips. This one's from Kilimanjaro. These two are from Denali. That one is from Aconcagua. That one on the upper right is Denali, and this one is my most recent trip to PCs. It's a lot of gear, and it's a lot of organizing gear and wondering where something went, and you are like, especially chapstick, super critical item that you can't just go buy something when you're up on the mountain. Super easy to get lost, super critical item. All right, extra equipment that you need to bring extra as a woman, and I think a lot of women don't don't realize this until you go on an expedition. Toilet paper and wet wipes, kind of just a general for everyone. Bring more toilet paper than you think you need. The amount of bargaining that happens later in the trip on toilet paper would be like, I'll trade you a bagel for 1 square of TP. Yeah, you're gonna need more than you think. You need about a roll for like a week and a half, and I would not use more than like a couple squares at a time. Men don't use it as frequently as women. Women are using it more frequently, so you need way more toilet paper, way more wet wipes, that kind of stuff, than men do. A big one about being a woman on the mountain, period products. Altitude can cause additional bleeding. Nobody told me that. Nobody informed me of that. And you want to be really like mindful of weight and space, but you cannot run out because you cannot go to the store. It doesn't exist up there. You have to like very much pre-plan this. So I always recommend to people that ask me questions about this is bring like a reusable as a backup, bring like a disc or something, just an item that you can use continually if you need to, and you can do what you got to do, flick it out in the snow, whatever, but like bring an item you can reuse because you don't want to be in a pickle. Bring a pain reliever. You're gonna hurt, it's gonna suck, but you got it. And if you're on birth control and you can like medically skip it, I've done that a couple of times, just medically skip it. Just figure it out how to skip it. Best idea. Underpants. Men bring like 2 pairs for the whole trip. Women, don't bring 2 pairs of underwear on the trip. You need like a pair for every other day, or depending on when you can wash them, like even if it means rubbing them in the snow, and also being mindful of weight and space, but bring more than 2 pairs. Men, also maybe a suggestion. I've seen some scary things, like maybe bring more underpants than you think. And hair care, women bring hairbrushes, men don't, obviously. I personally cornrow my hair, so I bring a do-rag and oil because it's way more effective to braid or like row your hair, and I don't like carrying a hairbrush. Wet wipe baths. Yeah, this is kind of one for everybody. You're on the mountain for months. I would recommend bathing like daily to prevent infections, or like quick hitting yourself with your wet wipe or whatever. Plus you just like feel better. The morale is higher when you have a wet wipe. Also, they freeze, so keep them like in your sleeping bag or whatever, they will freeze. And you're gonna have to do this in the tent with your tent mate. So if it's some random dude you don't know, like kind of a weird situation, you just gotta like tell them to like put something over their head, whatever. Periods, keeping clean, using like kind of like a double redundant backup system. You have 1 pair of clothes. You can do the math on that. Don't want to ruin your 1 pair of clothes that you brought. And plan ahead, especially both for like the bathroom and if you're on your period, like men and women, like that applies. Like you can't always stop and use the bathroom when you want on some of these climbs because certain areas are like no fall zones, really dangerous sections. I've seen people shit their pants. You have to like plan ahead. Not glamorous, but very much a reality of mountaineering. Piercings for women. Take them out, especially body piercings. They'll get snagged on stuff. And that's kind of just another opportunity for infection that like men don't face usually. I don't know, maybe they're like, super swanky and have some jewelry, but, and then your hair. It's good to secure it really well or it'll blow around in the wind. It'll get stuck in things, just flat out bug you. It'll get caught in coat zippers. If you don't, some guys have long hair too, applicable for that. But it's super annoying to have your hair just constantly getting stuck in your mouth. Like I said, I cornrow my hair. Everyone always asks to see a picture of what I look like with cornrows, so I'll put it in here. Here's me with my cornrows. It's just really effective for the mountain. I don't have to brush it. I just put some oil in it, and I just like keep a little like silk do-rag under my cap, and it's like the best way that I've found to manage my hair on climbs. And I've tried a bunch of different systems, and it might look a little goofy, whatever, but it's really, really good for the mountain. Sanitation continued. This is kind of one for everybody. Altitude makes you sick. If you're not eating in like a really clean environment, and you gotta kind of get used to being sick in front of other people and stuff. No one's washing their hands or dishes, so that's fun. Try to consume the least dirty food and water as possible. This is where we were getting our water. We were not filtering it. It was a spring coming out of the earth. We were doing our best to just drink it. So we were just drinking it straight from Mother Nature. That's where we were cooking. People like get mud on their boots, are using the bathroom, and then walking in your cooking space. So just being really careful. And if you drop food on the floor, you don't have extra food. So you're gonna eat it off of that floor. Probably gonna get sick. Making sandwiches on the rock outside. And then me eating a quesadilla, which was like so good it made me cry. But I was eating it with super, super dirty hands, and that food was so good. People ask, why do I do this? It's amazing. It's absolutely so rewarding. It's gorgeous. It's beautiful. You really learn a lot about yourself, a lot about the people you're climbing with. You meet the coolest people ever. Just an overall great experience, great environment. Besides some of the nitty-gritty, kind of sucky moments, it's absolutely worth every second of it. Yeah, these are just from some various climbs of mine. The upper left is from Aconcagua. The lower left is Aconcagua, but from a view from Mount Bonete, looking at Aconcagua itself. This is base camp just for scale. These like tiny little dots are all tents, like big dome tents. That one in the upper right is a mountain called Incahuasi. It's one we attempted to summit last time we were in South America. Also, I do a lot of these with my dad. I climb a lot with my dad. So when I say we, him and I were there. Until one of our team members got sick because they ate a bad empanada. So we had to turn around on that mountain. It was unfortunate. The bottom right is from Denali. Just some more views to convince you guys this actually doesn't suck that much. The upper left is Denali. The lower left is Kilimanjaro. The upper right is Pisces, and the lower right is Aconcagua. You see the most beautiful sunsets, just like this pure, raw, natural country. It's just such an amazing experience, and you get to really push yourself to physical limit. Thank you guys for coming and listening to me talk to you about this. Does anyone have any questions that I didn't go over?
How did you first get into mountaineering?
I've always really liked climbing, and then when I moved out here, I started doing more climbing in Colorado and up at Medbo and that kind of stuff. And then one day my dad and I looked at each other, we were like, go to Kilimanjaro? Like, let's just go to Kilimanjaro. So we did. And then absolutely got hooked on it. And so I've done some stuff with my dad, some stuff without my dad. I have a couple of friends who I mountaineer with as well who are like super into climbing and do some like guiding and that kind of stuff. So yeah, kind of progressed.
So who did you learn from then? Was it your dad to like mountaineer, or was it someone that you kind of grew up with, or just kind of like met somehow and then you went on your first mountaineering trip? Kind of the same question, like how'd you get into it?
I didn't learn, we learned together. My dad and I kind of learned together. We always, like, I grew up hiking, like we would always go hiking, but as far as like high altitude mountaineering, no, like Kilimanjaro was really like the first experience. And I got into rock climbing when I got out here. So I had a lot of the technical foundation from climbing and that kind of stuff. But had never really been to like high altitude mountaineering, and I knew I could hike, I knew I could climb, I knew I could do all that kind of stuff. I just didn't know how my body would respond to like extended trips in high altitude. So Kilimanjaro was really like the gateway, and after that I got hooked and then started kind of signing up and going on longer expeditions and then doing more like solo stuff or like going with groups or whatever. Yeah, so just going with different people and kind of got into it, but yeah, just like kind of a crazy idea of like, let's go to Kilimanjaro, and that's really what opened the door.
So when you're getting ready for a trip,
Mm-hmm.
what is your workout routine and how long is it? I mean, just the upper strength is, especially for women. How do you prepare yourself for that?
I spend a lot of time in the gym. I do a lot. Honestly, the best way to prepare is a lot of hiking. Like the best way to prepare is a backpack with weight in it, and I'll just go out and hike. Like that is the absolute best training that you can do. Trail running, a lot of people trail run. I'm like kind of the worst trail runner on earth, so very mediocre at doing that. People trail run though. Doing like just keeping yourself in shape in general is just really important, even when you're not like training necessarily for something, but making sure you're going to the gym, lifting weights, a lot of cross training, weighted, just making sure your body's like strong and healthy, and also listening to your body and not pushing it further than you should.
So when you're mountaineering, is it a lot of upper strength, climbing, or is it both? I mean,
Depends on what mountain you're going to. If it's like a technical mountain and you're doing like a lot more climbing, it's a lot more upper body strength. But primarily the backpack, the weight rests on your hips. So my hips actually bruise. Like I'll have some really nice stripes on my hips after I climb. But yeah, just making sure your legs are strong is probably the most important thing. And that your hips are ready for pack load, and that your feet are ready for your boots, because mountaineering boots is like kind of hiking in a ski boot. They're really stiff, like rigid boots. You want to make sure that you've trained in them a lot, so you have them nice and broken in. You know where you get blisters, because a lot of times you can't stop and take your boot off when you're climbing. But yeah, just like making sure that your like legs are strong enough and your hips are strong enough to hold the weight of the pack.
Can you put anything inside your boots to make it more comfy, or?
I have really comfy boots and I have them broken in, and I know where like they rub. I take socks and I put them here underneath my pack. When my hips start bruising, I can feel them starting to bruise. So the next day I usually cushion it with socks, because I hate having bruised hips, and it just makes the rest of the trip so miserable. And I have bony hips. I feel like that's probably another common issue that women have compared to men, is like just really bony hips.
So what is your situation? I'm assuming you bring all your fuel up there and everything, right?
Mm-hmm.
As far as water, you mentioned that you guys sometimes will drink from the spring, but do you guys typically do like water filtration, like either boil the snow or bring water filters, stuff like that?
Depends what mountain you're on. Some places, if you're melting the snow, no one really like cleans the snow. Like it's just snow. You just melt it. Yeah, you just look for, and they have like areas and spaces that are like known for water retrieval, so people know not to like use the bathroom near it. You kind of just get like local information or mountain-based information, like, hey, where does everyone collect their water at this camp? And you pretty much only fill up at the camps, because you're going from camp to camp throughout the whole time. You're not really just like filling up along the way for the most part. So you just talk to people and they'll kind of tell you mountain specific where you get stuff. If we're drinking out of creeks and rivers, we filter. But if we're like ladling out of the glacier or like melting snow or whatever, we don't ever filter. And like if we're drinking out of springs, we don't really filter either, because it clogs your filter and takes a lot of time when you're thirsty. So.
I think in high altitude, the big problem in some places is the minerals.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They're too heavy, or they have sulfurs, or like when you start cooking with those, the water change. It's no more transparent. It's like a milk. And if you drink that, it's gonna be like a heavy metals. It's minerals in high altitude, but it's not everywhere.
Yeah.
It's in some specific areas.
Okay. I just figured I'd ask because I've cooked snow before, like just camping, and it was fine. I didn't think about up at a high altitude.
And there's something else with the filters, because I'm from Argentina, so
Yeah.
we never use it. I never use it
Yeah.
personally. So I don't know. It's because here there are more animals, maybe big animals. I don't know. You have elk, deers, bisons. And over there, not. We have. I don't know. But we never use it. I didn't have a problem. And here in the U.S., like I always filter the water because everybody do it.
Yeah.
But it's like I don't know. It's for real, or it's I don't know. Sometimes I'm confused.
On Aconcagua at base camp, when you start talking to people, you'll find out that there's a guide tent that a lot of people go get water from, and you can. They have pipes running from the glacier all the way to this like big barrel drum, and they have a ladle in there. And you can just go in and like ladle water out, or you can just like pay if you're like not using a guided company that's like affiliated. You can just pay a small amount of money and fill up all your water from their barrel. But let it be noted, people are ladling with their dirty hands out of a barrel. I mean, that's how we got water, but everybody was like violently ill that whole trip. From what was it, food? I don't know, was it water? Was it altitude? Like it could have been 1,000 things, but like at that specific mountain, if you start talking to people, they'll tell you like, hey, there's a barrel you can go pay like $1 and ladle all your water out of, so.
Are you like using guide companies, and then I guess do you have any tips for like making these trips more affordable, anything like that?
Yeah, so certain expeditions are more expensive than others. It's recommended to use like guides on a lot of these, simply because they know the mountain. A lot of them, you that's what you're basically paying them for, is just to keep you like from falling into a crevasse or something, or like off the side of a cliff, and they know all the routes, and sometimes it can be really challenging to navigate. So it's recommended on like really big mountains, use a guided company. It increases your success rate, and they coordinate all the logistics. Permitting, huge pain. They'll go through all the permitting processes for you. All you have to do is like fill out a couple forms, and you don't have to like go through that. Certain mountains are more expensive than others. That's why I really like Argentina. It's like pretty affordable for, you know, a 3-week trip. It's a couple $1,000s, a few $1,000s, and you can do multiple mountains in that time. So it's very much worth it. Like you can't even take a vacation really for that much money. So it just kind of depends on what area you are mountaineering in. And yeah, I have some like contacts and stuff. So if you're interested, I'll give you my number. Yeah.
Would you change the meals? You said that a lot of the like men meals are not what you would desire. Like how would you make it different that is more suitable to you?
I really enjoy eating pasta, especially like before big activity days. Like carb loading's super good for you. So little bit more like carbs. I will say though, one time I ate ramen for 5 days straight, and that did suck. So like a good mix. But if you go to Argentina, as you probably like, you know, it's a lot of meat and like lettuce. Like that's it. It's just meat and lettuce the whole trip. And by the end of it, you're like, can we eat something other than meat and lettuce?
But the general recommendation is don't eat something. I mean, try to eat what you eat in the regular day. Because some people say like it's the same for trail running or running on a race. They start to drink or eat the gel, you know, all the supplements and a bunch of stuff that you never eat. So your tummy gets super upset because now you're eating a bunch of stuff that you normally don't eat. So up in the mountains, it's gonna change how much you eat, but try to eat whatever you normally eat. That makes sense? Mm-hmm.
And bring foods you want to eat, because at high altitude you feel really nauseous and sick and you don't really want to eat. So eating foods that you don't like in general does not go over well. You're just not going to eat. So bring foods that you really like to eat. Bring snacks. I always bring the little goldfish crackers. I love goldfish. I like the salt. I like just the taste of them. So I bring those. Food tastes different at altitude too. I eat a lot of Oreos. Like I bring cookies, which is like not nutritious, but it's something I will eat when I'm not feeling well. Like, I don't know, my body will be like, let's eat an Oreo right now. So you kind of just learn. Like, I don't bring a ton of protein bars or like gels, or I bring a couple like energy chews for if I'm like hiking a lot, but for the most part I bring just normal snacks.
Another thing, you can feel it. You can feel like, oh, I need salt. I need a cracker. Or for other days, I need something sweet. I need sugar right now. I'm this Oreo.
Sometimes you get that sweet tooth. You never know.
Or sometimes you need I need an orange. I need a fruit, a banana.
And
or
your
whatever.
body usually tells you.
Mm-hmm.
If you need salt, you're going to crave salt.
Yeah, except for a lot of times you don't have that option. Like your body will like crave something. The reality is your body's just gonna get super out of whack at like super high elevation. You just gotta ride it out. Mental strength is your biggest friend. Yeah, just being.
When you were talking about training, I was thinking in that like you can't train for the mental part. You need to go out there and hike. What you say?
Mhm.
Hike a lot.
Just be really miserable. I always tell people, they're like, well, what does altitude sickness feel like? It's like being really drunk and really hungover all at the same time. And so you're like feeling violently ill, you like have no coordination, you're kind of just stumbling around. So just like embracing that everyone's gonna have at least one day that's really mentally challenging because you physically feel like crap or you're just like really tired. So everyone's gonna have about one day that's just brutal. And communicating with your team members, I would say, that you're not having a good day. And then they'll pick up your slack, and then when they're not having a good day and you're having a great day, you'll pick up their slack. You're there with your team, and a lot of times it's strangers, but you guys are all in it together, and the community is really awesome.
About how many people like it would be in your group that you would hike with?
Depends, anywhere from like 4. I've gone on expeditions or like climbs and stuff with one other person, or I've gone on climbs with up to like 18, 20 people. So it really just depends. And certain mountains have rules and regulations based on that, like how many guides have to be with a person, or like suggested group sizes. And the more people you bring, the more like they help you carry gear. So it's easy to like divvy stuff up if you.
And more guides.
Mm-hmm. I'd say 3 is a really good number, honestly, because you can all sleep in a tent. You can kind of divvy up the materials really well. So I really like going in groups of 3, or like doing material splitting in groups of 3.
What's the average, what's the average length of like an expedition, and what's the longest one you've done?
Depends on what like expedition you're going on. I've done like 2-3 day like weekend expeditions, 4 or 5 day. I've done some of those as well. The longest one I did was a month. Yeah, like a month.
What was that one for?
I'd say so. Aconcagua was really long, and Denali was also long, especially since we got stuck at the runway because a snowstorm came in and we had to like camp for an extra 4 days because the planes couldn't land on the glacier to come get us, because no one hikes into that mountain. You have to like fly in to the like base glacier. Yeah.
Do you have a most favorite and least favorite experience as far as like summiting?
Summiting, yeah. Denali was really cool just because it's, North America's high peak, and it's just a beautiful mountain. They've done such a good job of keeping it like really pristine, clean. And it was beautiful weather. I summited in like a really light down jacket. Like I didn't even need my summit parka. I was like in gloves. It was hot. It was just a beautiful day, and like it's known for having terrible weather, and it was a fantastic day.
What was the elevation?
19, 20, 19 something. Yeah, it was.
And it was really that warm. That's crazy.
Yeah, the weather was beautiful up there. I was actually really surprised. So that was probably one of my favorites, just because it was great. My least favorite was, I really liked Pisces, but the summit day was probably brutal because it was kind of starting to snow. It was really cold that day. We weren't as acclimatized as I would have liked to have been, so everyone threw up, which sucked. And we got to the top, and we didn't need crampons the whole way up. And then for like the last 200 yards, we had to stop and all put crampons on, exhausted, and like shuffle up this little slope. So that one was probably just my least favorite, just because we all felt like garbage. And then we got up there and we couldn't really see anything anyway. You could see like the summit marker, but then it was just kind of like a whiteout, and you're like, sick.
Are there any luxury items that you bring almost every single time, other than like hygiene stuff and like comfort items, but anything
That's a good question.
weirdly luxurious to you that you have to have?
Games.
Games?
Yeah, like
I mean, that-
tent entertainment, headphones.
Cards or something, or headphones?
Yeah, I bring like 6 dice because you can play all kinds of different games with like a bunch of dice. So dice and cards is probably my like luxury item because there are some days you get so bored when it's snowing. Yeah.
Given the kind of the aim of the presentation, is there anything that you would like want your like male guides or like teammates to be cognizant of more, like going into these sort of things? And don't be a dick.
Yeah, that's a good start. Probably that women's, like especially in like month-long expeditions, our body hormones fluctuate a lot more, and we have like more limited capacities occasionally, and that's just kind of what it is. Or we have times that we are just like kind of going through stuff or need extra time, or trying to, guides are like, you can hold your pee. It's like, no, I actually need to change my tampon. Like I need this moment to like use the bathroom. A lot of guides don't realize that. So men just being more aware of that, and not also giving us the heaviest item possible to carry. Because some guides will be like, here, take this. And it's like, this is the heaviest group item.
Yeah, I was surprised to hear that. I feel like everything I've ever been on, we move the weight around depending on how strong the individual folks are feeling that day and stuff. That sucks.
Yeah, and also sometimes you get like, especially if you're in a group like on Denali, I would say no hate on those guys. They were not in any kind of shape to be up there. Like the other people that were, not the guides, not my dad, but like the other couple of people that were up there. Yeah, they were in our group, and so we were like our team gear. They did not train very well. They weren't in very good shape. They weren't making very like great climbing decisions. Like one of the guys showed up with brand new boots that he had never put on, never broken in. And I feel like that's such a staple thing that you need to do, and such like a rookie mistake. But that made his feet blister, and so he couldn't take any team weight. And so the rest of us had to pick up for that, and it was just such a silly mistake on his part. So it depends on who's in your group. Like some of the people, you kind of just have to bite the bullet, and they just suck. And you kind of like got the short end of the stick, the bad straw out of the bag, with some of the random people that sign up for these trips.
Sounds like a Seven Summit thing too.
It is. The commercialized mountains, you get some goobers up there for sure. But it's always really empowering when you like watch that, because it makes you feel better. So it's kind of a boost. But like some of the more rural mountains, especially in Argentina, the people we go with are amazing guides, like the coolest people ever, best guides. And those guys are absolute beasts. I've seen them carry insanely large packs up the mountain. So with those guys, they're not going to ask you to carry anything because they're just built different. So.
Have you ever thought about maybe going, I mean, I feel like if you do get in a mountaineer, your main goal is to probably go to maybe like Everest or something like that. Has that ever been on your mind?
I'd love to go to Everest.
Yeah, I figured.
Love to go to Everest. Really time consuming, really expensive, and now you have to do another 8,000 meter peak in order to get your climbing permit there, which is great, because if you've met some of these people that climb, you'd understand. But yeah, it's just like a logistics thing of paying to go to a different mountain, climbing it, and then I'd like to eventually get to Everest. That's like a goal.
So you mentioned kind of like you have to like climb peaks. Does that mean it's like you have to climb a certain amount of like elevation or like peaks to qualify, for lack of a better term, for bigger stuff like Everest and stuff like that then?
Yeah.
It's kind of like a lottery system essentially, or?
No, so you have some climbs, especially guiding companies, like I'm sure you can potentially find people, but in order to secure a permit, permits have like regulations to them. So you'll have to like do a prerequisite thing. And like for Denali, you have to have like some kind of other climbing, mountaineering experience, some other high altitude climb, that they won't let that be your first like high altitude climb. Or you will have had to have attempted Denali before or something. Like there's prerequisites to knowing stuff, and sometimes you have to do like knot testing or like gear like tests in order to go to the mountain, because if you don't know what you're talking about, like you could get everybody else killed too. So they will like make sure that everything's good. And they also do gear checks.
Yeah.
But yeah, you have to have like prerequisite mountains or climbing experience. And for Everest, one of them more recently they just implemented, I think you have to have another 8,000 meter peak before going to Everest, because so many people were going.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, but you're qualified, aren't you, to go to Everest?
No, I haven't done an 8,000 meter peak. I don't know exactly what that is. I don't know if there's like other mountains that would qualify.
That is gonna, I hope they change, because that is gonna crowd the next the easy mountain.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's like you move the crowd from this mountain to this mountain, but the problem is the same. So.
At least it disperses between like 3 or 4 other mountains instead of one.
It's true.
It's a brand new regulation, so.
Yeah, we'll see what happens.
Messed up, and then we'll have to fix it.
Hey, I like that they're trying at least.
Yeah, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess like similar to that, but what's like your next goal that you have? Your next increase?
I'm headed to Ecuador in June to climb Cotopaxi and Chimborazo. Yeah, so that's been a thing. I was actually supposed to be back in Argentina climbing Incahuasi and Ojos del Salado this February, but I am recovering from a meniscus tear right now, so I had to kind of cancel that for the time being. Any other questions? Cool. Well, thank you guys for listening to me.
Thank you.
How do I disconnect? I don't know how to get out of this.